And welcome. Happy New Year. Merry post-Christmas. Happy 2019. Whatever the hell you want to say. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the week. It's a brand new year, but with the same old thing. It's time for the Wrestling Nerdcast. As usual, ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, the National Sneaker Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, the World Wrestling Grand Prix Champion, the new reigning and defending Atlanta, or now Combat Entertainment Heritage Champion, the Disrespectful Intellectual, the Southern Gentleman, the Morning Star, the Incredible Huck. And it's been a while. I know you probably haven't missed her, unless you've been all over our social media and you've seen her like 15 times every day, all day. But she is one half of the world's cutest commentary team. You can also catch her not only on this podcast, but also on the FOW. I usually listen to it on Podbean. She is the lover of waffles. She is the voice of the speech impediment. She is the Aphrodite of affection, Mrs. Hashtag Buy Me a Taco, a.k.a. What That Mouth Do. She is Chicago Win, the one, the only, Mika Villas. Mika, what's up, girl? How you been? Ain't talked to you in like 2 weeks. Well, I've seen you in person, but, you know.
I feel like it's been longer than 2 weeks. I mean, it's been a great break, but I'm going to say something, and this is going to be the nicest thing I've said to you all year. I kind of miss you.
Well, being the fact that we're like just barely over a week into 2019, really, I guess I'll you know what? Thank you, Nika. I'll just go ahead and say thank you, okay?
I mean,
how was the holidays, man?
The holidays were great.
How was the holidays?
The holidays were great. The holidays were crazy. I mean, I went from Thanksgiving WrestleCade into Christmas and New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. We had a show here, our show of the year for then Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment, now Combat. That was crazy. I had my inner diva moment where I did a costume change. I mean, it's been hectic. It's been crazy. I just came back from Nashville this morning. I went to the TNA Homecoming pay-per-view and the tapings. I have been a lot of places doing a lot of stuff. You've been doing some stuff, too. You've been keeping busy yourself.
Yeah, besides being on night for the Heritage Championship, just traveling up and down the East Coast. But I'm finally settled in the new house here in Atlanta. Still getting used to living in Atlanta. It's nothing like, North Carolina. The people are weird. For all of our listeners and guests, I'm going to let's warn you right now. The people in Atlanta are weird. The traffic's really weird. The traffic patterns are weird. But just getting used to being a new AT alien. Do I get to be one of those now? Now that technically I live in Atlanta, do I get to be an AT alien?
If you want to. I don't know what the rule is. I am not an AT alien or an Atlanta person. As a matter of fact, I don't even go here. My license says so. So call yourself whatever you want.
Well, speaking of calling ourselves over one, too, like the wrestling world has been crazy the last 2 weeks. We've seen everything from AWE's the last Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment show of the year. We've had the TNA Homecoming, which was this past weekend. Wrestle Kingdom for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then we've seen, the creation of All Elite Wrestling, and so many amazing people have signed on to that. Like, out of all the things that's happened over the 2 week break since we've been gone, what has probably been your biggest wrestling moment for you?
Oh, wow. That's a lot. My biggest wrestling moment, I think, would have to be for me, just coming back, like I said, from Nashville for for Impact Wrestling in the Asylum. They were at the Nashville Fairgrounds, and I love wrestling. And TNA, Total Nonstop Action back in the day, I was not there in that, that first run for it when they were there in the Asylum. They had so many different stars come into that little place or that big place, whatever have you, and kind of show the world their art and their form before they moved down to make the Impact Zone in Orlando. But I watched all the video, watched all the tapes, and just kind of got caught up. And to walk into that building, I've been in that building before, but to walk into it and have it be Impact, to have it be filled with that TNA spirit. The Homecoming pay-per-view was actually pretty damn good. A lot of people slept on this pay-per-view. A lot of people are not into Impact Wrestling. They're just like, okay, whatever. I implore you all, go back, order this pay-per-view, watch this pay-per-view. It started with an X-Division match in the Asylum. As I get louder, understand I've got goosebumps. There was just action, action, action. It had that old spirit that Impact Wrestling brought about back in the day, infused with all these new wrestlers of today and tomorrow. It was great. That was big for me. I know All Elite Wrestling being announced and what have you. I'm taking that, as I know we'll talk about it. I'm taking it kind of with a let's see what's going to happen attitude. But man, Impact in the Asylum was wild, was crazy. Sellout in that building. Every seat filled. They filled it from the rafters to the floor. It was phenomenal. Yes, I said phenomenal like AJ.
Well, that's pretty amazing. I'm actually a long-time TNA fan. I remember I used to actually buy the weekly pay-per-views when they used to run in the Asylum every week and stuff. So it's good to know that, professional wrestling is booming, not only, in Stanford and Orlando, but in other cities and stuff, off the beaten path and stuff. I think for me, my biggest wrestling moment so far are for the past 2 weeks. Was actually Wrestle Kingdom, the main event for Wrestle Kingdom. Tanahashi recapturing the IWGP Heavyweight Championship match from Kenny Omega in a phenomenal, I'm going to steal your word, in a phenomenal, amazing match. I'm a huge Tanahashi fan. Stayed up. Well, actually, I went to sleep early that night and then woke up, boom, and watched all of Wrestle Kingdom. I watched all of Wrestle Kingdom all the way to the main event. I watched the first 3 minutes of the main event, and then from what I've been told and from what I've found out and stuff, there were so many new subscribers and so many people watching Wrestle Kingdom that their servers crashed, and people were getting booted off and everything. So I had to go back and watch the match, even though by the time I watched it, I knew Tanahashi had won. I actually had to go back and watch the match to see how good it was. But it's just good to know that the rest of the world outside of Japan is finally figuring out that New Japan Pro Wrestling is a great alternative to WWE, and they deserve all the accolades and all the attention that they're getting right now.
It was a great. I watched live this year. Thank you very much. Like last year you gave me hell last year. I told you I am a New Japan fan. It's just usually I'm going to sleep at that time, or maybe just getting in, going to bed, kind of winding down for the night, taking a 2-hour nap before I go to work. I took time off and made sure that I set my schedule so I could be up in the middle of the night here to watch live. And yes, Wrestle Kingdom was great from start to finish. From the pre-show, you saw our boy Chase Owens there, from the Bullet Club. If I can still say Bullet Club, I don't know, whatever.
But yeah, you can still say Bullet Club, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even the pre-show was great, and I watched the main event. Yeah, I love Kenny Omega. I love his outfit. I don't usually do the girly thing, like, oh my God, his outfit was so great. But Omega does it right for, Wrestle Kingdom, for these big, huge worldwide events. He does something special, and I appreciate that extra little effort when a wrestler, when a performer, when an artist does something a little bit special, because the occasion calls for it. The atmosphere, the pay-per-view, eyes are going to be watching. I, of course, being a queen of costume change now, can appreciate that, and I loved what he came out in, and I loved the match. It was crazy, man. Like, it was late, early morning here. I was a little tired, but that match got my blood pumping and flowing where I couldn't go to sleep for 2 hours afterwards. I had to start watching Wrestle Kingdom again because I was so hyper. I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is good. So, yeah, it was great. I agree.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, this is the Wrestling Nerdcast on the AngryMarks Podcast Network. Huge shout out and Happy New Year to our sponsors, Indie Customs, Pro Wrestling World on Facebook, and Behavior Driven. With that being said, speaking of crazy, speaking of driven, speaking of just outlandish, tonight's guest, Mika, we're in for a treat tonight because tonight's guest, I guess the best way to describe him would be no holds barred and no fucks given. He is one of the co-founders and managers of the Georgia wrestling stable, the Hate Club. He's a part of the office at National Syndicate Wrestling / ASW. He is a former ring announcer for Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. He is a podcaster in his own right, and let me be the first to tell you, we're going to talk about his show. I've listened to a couple of episodes. It is hilarious. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's guest, Georgia manager, Georgia mainstay, Georgia wrestling critique, or what do you call him, a critiquing columnist? What do you call him, Mika? A critiquer of Georgia wrestling, I guess?
I like a columnist. Columnist is a good word. You can use that word.
We'll call him a columnist. Okay, we'll say Georgia wrestling columnist, Rico Rodriguez. Rico, what's going on, man?
I don't know. I can top off that whole introduction. I think I'm done. Thanks for having me.
Look, man, I finally realized after doing this podcast for a number of years that once I'm done with my in-ring competition, I'm just going to do ring announcements. Like, that's it. I'm just going to announce people.
You can do it. You can do it up in Atlanta, man. You stay up there, I stay out here. Yep.
Well, speaking of that, you was a ring announcer for Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment for a couple of shows. Not very long, but your stint was very short, man. What was the reason behind that?
There was a storyline between it, and it was kind of like an audition, because I don't know if we don't have to put information out, because he was looking at retiring from that whole announcing situation. So I did a behind-the-scenes audition, and then he said, "We'll put you in the ring, see if it works out," and it really just didn't work out. Like, the AWE, that fan base is fucking nuts, dude. And it just, you got to be part of it, or you're not really. I just wasn't part of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, that was, I don't know if Mika was, I think Mika was there for that show.
Yeah.
Part of the office.
I was there.
The crowd was kind of harsh with you, man. I feel like the fans really didn't give you a chance.
Yeah, it was, for me, it's always a slow build. I have like an old school kind of vibe that I like to give off. The bar scene wasn't it for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's okay, because you've been doing other things around Georgia. Like I said, you're a founding member and manager of the Hate Club, which is yourself, Stunt Marshall, and CJ. Am I correct?
Yep, Cameron Jackson, CJ, whatever he goes by, yeah. The Juggernaut, all that jazz.
Yeah, okay. I never call him Cameron. I always call him CJ. How did that come about? Where did the idea of the Hate Club come about?
Well, it came off of Stunt Marshall, because he has the whole hate gimmick. He's been doing that since the beginning, since his whole wrestling career. And we got linked up in Columbus. He was like, I'm going to hit the road. And at the time, there's nobody running in Columbus. He's like, just be my manager, come out here and just rock the mic. So we went out, hit the road, went out to a couple places, and picked up Cameron Jackson. They had a gimmick up in Atlanta at Platinum, the Much Hate Militia. So, we sat around and had a couple of beers, and I'm like, hey, man, let's just run with this, see how far we can take it. The whole Hate Club gimmick. The way Stunt explained it is kind of like Kanye West at his most asshole-ish, but, keeping it real at the same time, not outlandish. Like the whole mentality behind the Hate Club.
I'm about to say, bro, like, you can't describe anything. You can't use Kanye West to describe anything nowadays. He's I always use the word crazy. He's definitely in a different mind state right now than what he used to be.
Yeah, we try to key in on that. We actually started off with somebody that with Luscious LaRon. He was actually the first third member of the crew.
Yes. Yes, we definitely know Luscious LaRon around here. So your management style, because I always saw you as a manager. You was always well dressed, clean cut, or whatever. Who were some of your influences and stuff, and some of the people as far as being a manager that you studied before you actually took on the helm?
Bobby the Brain Heenan, that's for sure, man. You can't even say managers without bringing him up. So I grew up watching that guy. And it was between him and Paul Heyman, and I got him a lot of influence from Paul Heyman. Remember back in 2014, it was John Cena and Brock Lesnar going back and forth right before SummerSlam. And Heyman cut a promo that put Cena over. And I never saw, I was, a mark. It's like, Cena sucks. I can't like Cena. But listening to Heyman put him over, it's like, oh, that's how a man is supposed to do it. Like, he's hyping up this fight, and I don't want to see it. He's getting a little choked up.
Oh, don't cry. There's no crying on the Wrestling Nerdcast.
No, I mean, seriously, I tried not to choke.
But
just hearing like Heyman like put Cena over, like, he's one of the best wrestlers over the past 10 years at that point, and just hearing him talking, just Lesnar was in the ring, Cena was in the ring, he was just talking for 20 minutes, like, that's power. That's what I want to be like.
Word. Now, I feel like we could talk about your theories about being a wrestling manager forever and stuff. But I just want to get down to it, man, because you pull no punches when it comes to what you like or what you don't like about wrestling, or when it comes to arguing with people on wrestling. And I don't know if Mika knows this or not, but Mika, today they announced the Georgia Wrestling History Awards, correct?
Yes, the winners of the Georgia Wrestling History Awards were announced today. Awards for the state of Georgia for categories like Most Improved, Best Male Wrestler, and Best Promotion, as voted on by peers in the wrestling community.
Now,
for those who didn't know.
Yeah, thank you for that, Mika. And I bring that up because there was a huge discussion on social media about the validity of the Georgia Wrestling History Awards. And Rico, you don't seem to be a fan of them. Am I correct?
Yeah, Larry Goodman could eat a dick, but that's just for me.
Well, it's not just Larry.
Well, I've talked to him before. Like, I'm not saying nothing I want to say to his face. Eat a dick. He doesn't go out to all the shows. He just stays up in Atlanta and does the Atlanta shows, and that's fine. That's what he wants to do. He wants to be Atlanta history of wrestling. That's your niche. Fucking wrong with it. But he's saying Georgia wrestling history, and he's writing about Georgia. He should go to all the Georgia shows. He doesn't do that. And then the shit he writes, makes all the workers look bad. I'm standing up for Damian Bennett. He wrote shit about him. He wrote shit about you.
Yeah,
come on, man. You're supposed to be unbiased. You're supposed to just say the history.
So what do you think is a better way? Do you think there's a better way of handling, peer voted on awards when it comes to professional wrestling? Because most of the time in other forms of entertainment, the awards are voted on by either fans or by your peers. The Oscars are voted on by the Academy, which is basically other actors and people in the movie and television industry. The Grammys are voted on by other musicians and people in the music history, and then you have the People's Choice Award. So what is your feelings about? Or do you even think that there's a better way to go about the voting or even the nomination process?
I mean, the nomination process is there. That's thought out, but he doesn't go to all the places. There's a lot of feds in Georgia, and he just doesn't go there. He goes to Tennessee. He'd rather go to Tennessee than down to, going to AWN, going to any Columbus show. He doesn't do that. But if you wanted to, have like a peer review, have all the peers write into it. If you wanted to be the fan base, then say it's fan. But to say that it's Georgia wrestling history, he's got that trademark for that website. That's what people are going to go. So they're going to see his biased opinion on who's the best. Somebody's opinion fucking sucks.
Wow. Okay. Talk about choked up.
How about that? Yeah, I'm going to say, with Mika, I'm going to hand it over to Mika. With that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Mika because, she likes to talk sometimes. We try to limit how much Mika talks, but we have to let her talk every once in a while. Mika, what do you have for our guest tonight?
I'm pretty much Switzerland on most matters, so I like to try to play straight down the middle and play devil's advocate. I'll get back to your love of Larry Goodman. It's so overwhelming right now. I literally almost died on a kernel of popcorn. It's so much. But let's kind of go back and let's talk now, because I was part of the fanatics, those crazy ass, pardon my French, AWE fans, and you are right. They are a very rabid and crazy fan base. And you kind of got the short end of the stick as far as things went there. So what, if anything, did you learn from going into kind of a lion's den situation and moving forward into your career as you went outward and onward, if anything?
Well, I learned a lot, actually. Just that crowd, you can't, I don't know how, it's kind of hard. Huck might understand a little bit more than I can, or say it better. Like, you can't let the crowd dictate the story that you want to tell. You gotta go out there and just fucking take it and run with it. You gotta own whatever you're saying, whatever you're doing. And you let the crowd eat you up, man. You end up like me. It didn't fit, it didn't work out. It's not that I didn't get to tell. I didn't have the balls to tell the story I wanted in front of that crowd. So I learned in future shows, when I grab that microphone, it's my time. It's what I got to say. You guys got to sit and listen, not me taking what they're saying and kind of, hitting behind a corner like, oops, like, these guys don't like me. I'm going to run away. You got to kind of, like you got to have balls when you get in front of a crowd, especially the AW crowd. So that's kind of what I learned from them. Just have initiative. Don't back down. Don't let them tell the story that I'm telling.
That sounds kind of like don't back down, don't surrender. And if I am correct, you have a military background. That's very kind of military as well.
Yeah.
Let's touch base. Which branch of the service?
I was in the Air Force. I did 13 years. Right after I turned up in September, or after September 11th, I signed up. In 2002, I went to basic for the Air Force. And I did
the Air Force.
Yep.
Huck went to the service too. Unfortunately, they didn't keep him. They gave him back. They really should have kept him.
As long as he got that 214, he's good.
I don't know. I mean, he might have. Is that the one where they dismiss you because your marbles are not all there marbly?
What?
But
No.
Oh.
That's not what that means, Mika.
Oh well. Sorry. Anyway, so in the Air Force, and especially doing that long a stint, what have you used from that in your wrestling and managerial foray out here in our world now? In the civilian sect, I guess I should say. I'm going to stop using military terms now. I'm done, but yeah.
Well, for me, I've always been good with the microphone, so I always did like award ceremonies there. I said, hey, Rodriguez, you have to go do this for us. I had no problem, I got Stunt Marshall and Cameron Jackson over here. Close the door.
We hate Stunt Marshall. I mean, that's the right thing, right? We're supposed to hate him.
They hate you. The podcast, man. I already used that line. Can't use it again.
Lord Jesus. See, that's like he can't be a guest of the show right there.
Yep. Yep, they're in the hated state. So we're doing our own podcast earlier, so it all flows. We'll have Huck on ours.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So speaking of this podcast, what's this podcast about, man? What's the name of your podcast for all of our listeners and fans, and what's the general gist of it?
We're Walk and Talk Podcast. We're plugging our stuff. See, you can't boo them now. Walk and Talk Podcast on Full Circle Radio. I can't because I had to come in here for you to plug. And basically, we just tell our road stories, and I got to deal with this the whole time. You can bleep that out, right?
No, we can't bleep it out. I mean, our producer is pretty good, but I don't know.
How would you like to suck my balls?
He's had a beer or two.
Your producer's not going to edit shit, so have fucking fun.
All right, so the podcast, your podcast. Let's get back to that.
He's talking shit.
Hello. Yeah, I will.
All right. They're gone. I'll lock the door. So the podcast is basically us telling our road stories and shitting on people in the process. It's kind of a little bit of heat, but it's been all right. Not too bad. Everybody seems to like it. Seems alive.
You said a little bit of heat. Let's talk about this heat. I mean, I'm just fanning the flames a little bit. Let's talk. What happened? Who was most upset?
Have you heard the podcast? There's a guy. He's a roommate, a fellow professional wrestler, Johnny Nix, and we've given him proper burial a couple of times. I think he's unfriended me on Facebook and all that stuff. He used to live here, but I don't know, fuck that guy.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think we're going to get booked up face-to-face anytime soon because we talked a lot of shit about those guys. Not, the good workers, just the shitty ones like Map on Reaper. The guy booking the show, he's a Facebook gangster. Talk shit to me on Facebook, and I don't ever play that. So we're not going to get booked there anytime soon. I think that's really about it.
There's a bunch of places that you can work at. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. We try, we try to have a good time, have a couple of laughs. We drink when we're doing it, Not too bad, right?
No, because Mika also drinks while she's doing this show. Because you probably can't drink the same things that Mika drinks. Mika likes to drink Himalayan spring water blessed by Tibetan monks.
That sounds disgusting.
I drink bottled water, and everybody thinks it's vodka, so it's special water because only the monks make mine. You understand?
I don't think they wash their hands though. They don't have the sanitation records.
Oh, I make sure that we do the USDA type customs. I don't play with that other stuff. I was going to say something bad. I try to be good. Again, I'm Switzerland. Don't make me be you. Don't make me be bad,
it's
okay?
Easy to just give in to the hate. It's all right. Let's accept it. Let be a part of you.
Apparently, you and Huck both want to give it to the dark side. I'm going to stay as pure as I possibly can over here. Thanks.
What says the love on waffles?
Continue the interview and shut your mouth.
Oh. Now let's talk about you, the person, Rico. Because I've known you for years, even before you really started the ring announcer thing and everything. And you went through a bit of a health scare last year, but you're on the other side, coming out. Would you like to tell our fans and stuff about your recent health scare and why I call you the $6 million or the Bionic Man?
Well, I did a show down in Florida with the Dudleys, Terrence and Terrell Dudley. And he does a spot where I got punched by Devon Dudley. I fall over a chair. It's supposed to be a little deal. And I thought I tweaked my shoulder, so I go to the doctor. Hey, something's wrong with my shoulder. They do an X-ray, they do the MRIs and all that. And I find a tumor inside of my spinal cord, in between two different vertebrae. They said they're gonna leave it for now until it gets worse. Probably around June, I got worse. I went paralyzed from the waist down, all because of the tumor. Excuse me. So they removed the tumor. They said they got it all out. It took about 4 hours for the surgery. When I got out of the surgery, my left leg worked a little bit. My right leg is completely paralyzed. It's been a couple of months since then, and I've got a little bit of feeling. I can kind of feel them. It feels like they're asleep, but I can still walk on them. I still got muscle control. So kind of dealing with that right now, just trying to relearn how to walk again. But not that bad. Easy part.
So what have you learned since your hospital stay? Because I know, I helped introduce you to the awesomeness that is New Japan Wrestling. That's for the record, Mika, that's my good deed for the year. That I actually allow Rico to use my New Japan subscription and stuff.
Well, don't tell them. Shush up.
He was in the hospital.
You're not supposed to tell.
I watched New Japan on YouTube, but how watch the little tiny screen, 3 different segments for one match. The struggle.
Exactly. So now you're up and you're walking around and stuff, man. Is there any urge to get back into managing and stuff, or are you just gonna stay behind the curtain in the office position?
Well, I do a little bit for out there in the. Goddamn, my mind just went blank. Out there in Southern Georgia, I manage the Hate Club. I just do one show, but I'm more comfortable staying behind the scenes and doing my music, doing the announcing, giving my input for storyline and all that kind of stuff. It's safer right now, and I'll see how it plays out for the rest of the year.
So I'm saying that's what you and Mika have a lot in common because she's part of the office now at Combat Entertainment. And where else are you the office at, Mika?
I am part of the shadow government now, and I'm not supposed to talk about it. So
She's a part of the shadow government.
Parts of the terms and conditions. I go to a lot of shows. I help out around best I can, AWE, combat wrestling, combat entertainment, just different places. I do different things, commentary, some ring announcing, some, music, some Girl Fridays, Young Boy, and whatever. It's just kind of
some booking over there at one fall.
Hey,
so you're booking, you say?
I didn't say.
Yeah, some booking.
Listen,
scouting for Phoenix City.
Who's ever listening to this and they think that I'm a booker, by all means, shower me with gifts and I'll get you booked. There.
Oh, you'll give are you asking our fans to give you the booker handshake?
I'm saying, if you think I'm a booker, by all means, let's make that financial investment into your future, boys and girls. And let me stop.
I feel like
hashtag book me as booker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great! Now I got another name.
hashtag good brother booking. Nico, what else? Let me pass the mic back over to Nika because we're just all over the place right now. I need Nika to get us back on track.
Oh, you're looking for me to get us back on track? Good luck with that.
You got to be a responsible adult here.
Yeah, one of us has to be an adult, and we know it's not going to be Huckabee. All right, so now that you've gone and you've had this health scare and you're on the mend, and thankfully so, is there anything that you want to do that you have not yet done? There's just that one little thing that, man, I want to do this, because I'm pretty sure when the doctor said the word tumor, things start to flash and freak the hell out. So now that you've kind of got that behind you, what are we looking forward to? What do you want to accomplish, that dream thing?
My dream thing is, what every wrestler should be striving for is Madison Square Garden. If I got to go out there and have one match at MSG, I'm set. I'm good. Mission accomplished. Throw the dirt on top of me. Roll the daisies, all that kind of good stuff.
Pick your opponent.
No, just me announcing. Just me
announcing. Just you? Oh, okay. Just announce.
Give me the microphone. Let me cut a promo. I'm set, That's good. I grew up in Jersey. I'm a Jersey kid. MSG is the place. That's like, they call it the wrestling mecca. To me, that's the mecca of wrestling. So I'd love to go up there.
Hold on, whoa, Paul. Did you just say that Jersey was the mecca of wrestling?
He said MSG.
MSG.
Oh, even I don't consider MSG the mecca of wrestling, but I'll give it to you. Okay, it's a pretty popular place.
He's from Carolina, so he was gonna go and say something really, I don't know, Carolina-y. I mean, there's a lot of meccas.
The Greensboro Coliseum, the Charlotte Coliseum,
The Greenville. I mean, that's, NWA.
I think
can't go wrong with that.
I say Greensboro, not Greenville. Greensboro.
Listen here, none of them are the Sportatorium, okay? Let's just be honest. Dallas, Sportatorium. If you want to go someplace, it doesn't even exist anymore. Build the building back so I can tear it the hell down. That's just me. But anyway. Okay. So in the middle of Madison Square Garden, doing your thing, cutting a promo, is there anybody that you want to work with that you haven't, for whatever reasons? We don't have to get into the reasons. Your love of Larry Goodman. I'm pretty sure you want to work arm in arm with him in the future to help him with spell check. We'll go, whatever. See, I'm bad. But is there any?
Hello.
See, that's what she gets. That's what she gets for talking junk. See, Larry Goodman, shadow government. So they're always listening. I think what she wanted to ask you was, is there anybody that you would like to work with that you haven't with so far?
The big goal is, if I could sit behind, shadow Paul Heyman, and that's a possibility, I'd love to do that. If I could be in the same room just hear him, give a promo class. I got to do that with JR. He gave a promo class. I just sat there with my notepad and took notes.
Wow.
I got to chit-chat with, he just passed, Mean Gene. Just, one little conversation. I crossed that off the list. So, Heyman's next, I could shout at him for just a conversation. I think that'd be pretty fucking cool.
Speaking of conversations that are not cool, I'm going to go ahead and let you talk back to Huckabee, who, of course, as per usual, stepped all over my lines. Go ahead, Huck.
Gimmick infringement.
Boo. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Wrestling Nerdcast on the AngryMarks Network. We're talking to tonight's guest, Georgia wrestling luminary, and probably was, nominated number 6 for Manager of the Year, Rico Rodriguez.
Should have been number 1.
Should have been number 1, but you weren't. Oh, it's so bad.
I'll give it to Ryan North. He's all right. He's a good guy.
Let's talk about what do you like? Do you watch wrestling? Do you follow anything besides New Japan?
I was in Atlanta. I was in the hospital up there, and actually had a lot of AAA and MCLL going on, like 2 o'clock in the morning. I watched a lot of that up there. I catch WWE, New Japan. I've been trying to get into that British stuff, but it's kind of hard. It doesn't come on a regular basis.
Well, yeah. What's some of the more interesting things that you're really feeling right now when it comes to professional wrestling?
I'm really wanting to follow this All Elite situation going on, because it seems like all of the top tier talent over there from Japan is coming over to America. So that's going to be, like a big thing. At least I think, especially with Jericho signing up. Hope he gets off to a good start, just to get some difference to WWE. That's kind of getting
that really. I'm gonna tell you what, I don't know how you felt about that, but that really surprised me when they announced that Jericho had signed with All Elite Wrestling, because he had previously stated that he wouldn't work for any other promoter in America besides Vince McMahon. And less than a year later, now he's working with Cody and the Young Bucks and stuff at All Elite. So, do you think that that's going to change up the landscape of professional wrestling in America?
Oh, there's a huge change up coming. It needed to happen. I mean, it's been the same 2 shows as far as WWE for the past maybe 4 years. There's nothing new. There's no freshness to it. So there's something new, something hot. And it's believable talent. You have to get Kenny Omega signed up to All Elite. It's going to be a whole different game changer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he's already announced, him along with Kushida both announced that they were leaving New Japan. Do you think because nobody's really talking about it, do you think there's a chance that Kushida may sign with All Elite, or do you think he's going to WWE?
That's actually kind of a hard toss-up. I mean, it all depends on where they put him, If they put him straight to NXT, I think it's going to be a waste of his talent. But it's going to be hard to find a foot, going up to Raw, SmackDown. Just a weird spot to put him, you know what I mean? Just a lot of good talent on NXT. Where are you going to put him at? Who's he going to feud with? Who's he going to fight? Not really a spot for him, if you think about it.
Do you think he's just going to go straight to 205, though? I would think with somebody like Kushida, he would just go straight to 205 Live.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. You still need a good villain that they really can't find a good heel to kind of run 205 Live. Again, I think there'll be some great, interesting matchups. Him versus Buddy Murphy, him versus Mustafa Ali, him versus Cedric. I think that 205 Live may be a better fit for him than NXT, actually. Well, it's true. It's still going to be good matches regardless, but it's still, where's the progression going to come from in 205 Live? And I don't think he's the cash in for that. So I think for his novelty, I think All Elite would be a better fit, but I can see him still signing with WWE.
Exactly. So what else are you watching right now when it comes to what else are you watching right now, keeping an eye on when it comes to professional wrestling right now?
I think just Wrestle Kingdom, just developed Wrestle Kingdom. That's exhausting because you got all those tag matches, the road to Wrestle Kingdom. It's like a job. You got to watch. It's like 5-hour shows. So I've been watching a lot of that. Watching anything besides the big shows for New Japan is kind of like tedious at times. Yeah. I found myself even with the G1. Yeah, I found myself even with the G1 just skipping like the entire show and just watching the matches that I'm really interested in. Yeah, you got to get through all the young boy matches just to get to the good stuff. By then it's 4 hours. But the thing is, I actually like the young boy matches. A lot of times the young boy matches or the young lion matches are actually a lot more interesting than some of the actual main card matches.
just because you see these young guys, like, even though they might be the same tag team, they're still trying to show each other up. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times the young lion matches are actually better for me.
That makes sense. I can see that. Yeah, that's what I've been watching. But if you know, for me, I don't know if you got the same feeling from Wrestle Kingdom. Like, when it was done, it felt like they closed all the storylines that they had going. Like, it's going to be something new from New Japan. Not to be redundant or anything like that.
I think they had to with the fact that they're having another mass exodus and stuff. So I think that they had to close off some storylines and kind of make it seem very final with a lot of people.
Yeah, that's feeling I got. Like, all right, everybody's leaving now. I mean, you got Switchblade coming up. Seems like they're putting a lot of money into that kid.
See, Mika doesn't know any of this stuff that we're talking about right now, so we're going to switch the subject to something she doesn't talk about. Because
excuse you. I totally know about it. I'm just letting you flow, because if I don't, you'll cry about it later.
Well, we're getting back to this, because our guest tonight he's the epitome of controversy creates cash. So I really want to ask him his opinion on this week's hot button topic. A friend of the show, a friend of all of ours, somebody that we all know personally, one Priscilla Kelly, and the infamous tampon spot that she may or may not have done at a local indie wrestling show. She got a lot of heat for that. It's been all over World Star Hip Hop, which in my opinion makes her hood famous. It was on Fox News. Everybody from WWE agent Road Dogg to WWE legend Tommy Dreamer, the Blue Meanie, of course Jim Cornette and Jim Ross, Joey Ryan. Everybody's spoken about this topic. Everybody's giving their opinion. Rico, what is your opinion about the spot? And do you think that has a negative or positive influence on professional wrestling and the way fans look at it?
It's a negative, but at the same time, it's positive for her because she's going to get them bookings. You know what I mean? People want to see that kind of stuff. We might not particularly like it. It's kind of really fucking disgusting, but she's turning that into cash, so it works. You know, it's that old school Jerry Springer mentality. If it bleeds, it leads. And she bled.
What? Hold on. You said what? If it bleeds, it what?
It leads.
Yeah, that's a broadcasting thing for journalists, especially broadcast news. You're not going to put a kitten was pulled out of a tree. It's going to be, a kitten was splattered across the roadway today because of a drunk driver. If it bleeds, it leads.
That's what she's doing.
I've never heard that.
Blood to the bank.
I've never heard that. All right, Mika, I'm going to ask you, Mika, what was your opinion about the entire situation?
I laughed. It was hilarious. It was funny. It was a moment. It made everybody go, "Oh my God, what is she doing? That's horrible. That's disgusting." But when people were so, how do I put this nicely, so fucking butthurt about it, I equate it to Joey Ryan and everything that Joey does with his dick flip, with the blow pop coming from out of his trunks. It's the female equivalent. There is nothing different. If you take anything from out of your trunks and you stick it in someone's mouth, it's gross, it's disgusting. Yes, Priscilla is getting lots of flack because, that's just blood play and that's dirty and it's all dirty. You don't take anything from any part of your body and put it in somebody's mouth unless, that's your thing. But this was all in the premise of wrestling blurring the lines of reality, where we're going to take you on a ride, on a show, on an adventure, on things that you will not do or see in your everyday life in the span of this 8 to 10 minute match. That's what she did.
Now, Rico, let me ask you this, and Mika, feel free to chime in if you want to. Do you think that it matters that it was at it was like a 21 and up show where there was no underage kids in the audience whatsoever? Do you think that actually matters? Do you think that if there would have been children in the audience that she would have done that spot?
I hope she wouldn't have done it. There's, kids in the audience.
It's you think they just did this and maybe didn't run it past the promoter, the booker, saying, "Hey, we're going to do this." pretty much
you're
you're in
some disgusting promoters out there. I mean, this was one of their ideas. I don't know the promoter personally for the show.
But what I'm saying is the promoter, the booker, whoever was in charge for, we're using wrestling terms, the person in charge, the person who's making these matchups, calling the shots, they knew what was going to happen. They didn't just all of a sudden say, hey, we're going to just do this and surprise everybody. It did not matter whether it was kids there or not, because there is this little invention called the internet, where everybody who can get, within Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi, if you don't speak English, can get on and see anything and everything at any time. Priscilla Kelly pulling a quote-unquote bloody tampon out of her trunk, stuffing it in somebody's mouth, is not the worst thing I've ever seen on the internet in my life. You've all seen something way dirty. 2 girls, 1 cup.
Let's go.
I'm just saying, I mean, there's just...
So it's top 5. It's definitely top 5.
And with that statement right there, this show has officially gone rated R. Thank you, Lisa. I'm also going to say that's the first time that 2 girls and 1 cup has been mentioned in the entirety history of this show and all of its predecessors. This is the first time that clip has ever been mentioned. Thanks, Mika.
I do what I can.
Kids, if you don't know what it is, I guess you can Google it. It's been here for about 20 years.
No, do not Google it.
Children, if you Google it and you get your ass whooped, write some comments on the page. I just want to laugh at your stupidity. That's all.
I need mouthwash.
What? These kids are getting busted. It's the adults getting busted. The kids know how to use the incognito window. They're smart. Adults are like, oh, let me just go on my phone. No, idiot, don't do that. I mean,
where do we go from here? She was supposed to be the adult. We don't fuck that.
Look, let's go ahead. First of all, let's go to our fans and listeners. If you've seen the spot, if you haven't seen the video, we're going to go ahead and let you know right now. It was not an actual tampon that she used. It was a tea bag.
Stop telling the business, man.
Well, Kayfabe is dead. Who cares?
Who killed Kay? Don't kill Kayfabe. She's a good girl. You leave her alone.
First of all, Kayfabe was dead the first time a legend actually did a shoot video. When You Shoot came out and became famous, Kayfabe died. Speaking of which, let's ask Rico about this. Rico, as a wrestling columnist, what is your thoughts about Kayfabe? And do you think that the actual shoot, people actually use in real life, that's the new Kayfabe?
I mean, that goes back to keeping it real. I mean, when you think about it, it's a fight. It's a simulated fight. Sometimes it gets real. It's still a fight. So you need a reason to want to kick somebody's ass, especially in a world with MMA, UFC, where it is somewhat real. I don't know anymore with Conor McGregor, but people still want to believe that these 2 guys want to kick each other's ass. So using, kayfabe, run with it, you know what I'm saying? I think there's plenty of places. I think that's the only way you can go these days is just keeping it real, just because of UFC, MMA, and all that.
Exactly. I just feel like, with anything as far as professional wrestling goes, you have to add just enough real life to where, you may or may not confuse the fans to where or not they may think, is this real? Is this a work? Is this fake? Are these guys being serious? I think that the quote-unquote work shoot is the new kayfabe.
Yeah, I think that's the way it has to be, just to make money, just to keep fans interested. These guys everybody wants to see a fight, everybody wants to see a train wreck. And that's what you have to do. You have to give a little bit of realism. It can't be the garbage man versus the mailman. Why are they fighting? Let's get the story behind it.
They'll probably fight over the housewife. Speaking of train wrecks, there you go. Speaking of train wrecks, let's talk about Paul Lee, Georgia wrestler Paul Lee, because I know that you have some very you're very opinionated when it comes to Paul Lee, but I want to get it on record because I find it hilarious. What are your thoughts on Paul Lee?
The same thoughts everybody else has on Paul Lee, Why, man? Just fucking lie.
Okay, let's explain Paul Lee for those who may be not accessible to the internet, who have no clue who the heck you're talking about. Who's Paul Lee?
He's Ric Flair's tattoo kid. You know what I'm saying? Just
Damn.
I don't. It's fucking Paul Lee. He's trying to be Ric Flair. His hair is struggling. Put some conditioner on. Just a little bit of conditioner. A little bit of activator going. Just bring some life to that hair.
His hair is struggling. Jesus.
I'll give it to Paul Lee. I'll give him a compliment sandwich. I know he runs some pawn shops and stuff like that, and he found a Purple Heart, and some family claimed that it was theirs, and he went through the legal route, went through the military to get the Purple Heart to the right owner. So I'll give him props for that, because, military guy. As far as wrestling, man, what the fuck, dude?
Well, that was nice of you.
Yeah. Compliment sandwich. A little bit of bread, a little bit of shit.
I think we're going to tell you that you're not a fan of his. So I know our time with you is running down. You've been very gracious with us so far. But we're going to play a little game and stuff where, it's like word association. And I'll say a word, and you just say the first thing that comes to your mind, okay?
All right.
All right. Let's go, first of all, podcast.
Awesome.
Georgia wrestling.
Struggling, man. Fucking struggling.
South Georgia wrestling.
Questionable. A lot of pedophiles, so trying to get away from that.
Wow.
I feel like that needs more explanation.
We worked for a couple of companies that had some pedophiles running backstage, and when we found out about it, we stopped working for them. But there's a lot of guys that still go to these guys on shows.
Wrestling to look out for in 2019.
The 8 Club, we're doing big things. All Elite, see how this goes. If somebody could go toe-to-toe with WWE in a modern age.
Sheets or Wawa?
Sheets or Wawa?
Yeah, Sheets. Well, you live in Georgia, so let's say Sheets. Let's say Sheets, Wawa, QT.
You talking about the gas station?
Yes.
Oh, Wawa for sure, man. They're talking about like a wrestler, like about the Iron Sheik or the time.
I forgot you was a Jersey kid. Waffle House, IHOP, or Denny's? Waffle House, IHOP, or Denny's?
Not Denny's because their food tastes like dog food. IHOP, man. Gotta go with IHOP.
And last but not least, it's 3 o'clock. You're heading home from a wrestling show. What's your guilty pleasure song?
Man, I don't know if I want to do that, but that's too much information.
Huh? It's just me and Mika. Backstreet Boys.
Listen to the Backstreet Boys, Gotta stay awake. Have it my way.
Better than Mika. Mika has horrible taste in music. All right. So, Mika, do you have any other questions for our guest tonight?
Why do you even continue to talk to Huckabee? I know what my problem is, but what is yours? No, I'm kidding. No more questions.
He always comes to conversation. He always comes to me.
Because I'm amazing and I'm hilarious. And whenever I'm on a show, there's a 90% chance that he may see me cuss out a ring announcer or a referee.
Oh yeah, that shit's great. I never seen people so angry that day. Tyson Dean turn a shade of red I've never seen on a human being.
See, that's why people keep me around.
Good
you know what I'm saying? All right. Well, anyway, Rico, thank you for being a guest on the show tonight. For all of our fans and listeners, please give out all of your social media and any appearances where you may be at in the next coming weeks, so that our fans and listeners can follow you and come check you out in a local show.
Oh yeah, man. Do some work. Oh, you asking where I'm gonna be?
Yeah, give out. This is the time to get your shit in. You got to give out all your social media stuff. Yeah, do all the plugs.
Well, it's at Mr._Rico Rod on Instagram, on Twitter, Rico Rodriguez on Facebook. You catch me on Fight TV doing AWN, All-Star Wrestling Network, or National Syndicate Wrestling We do commentary on there. Every Wednesday-ish, we try to have a new podcast, Walk and Talk Radio, or Walk and Talk on Full Circle Radio. We have YouTube and we're doing Facebook, and we're trying to find some new business. We got some more phone calls to make, but that's about everything.
All right, well, Rico, thank you for being the guest of the show, man. I'll actually see you this Friday. We'll talk shop some more, man. Until then, have a good week.
All right, you too, man. Catch you Friday.
All right. Yes, sir. Talk to you later.
Peace.
Mika.
Yes.
Our guest tonight, Rico Rodriguez, Mr. Controversy. What'd you think?
Such a different person from the one I remembered at the Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment Show when he came in to do that ring announcing gig. Totally different.
Definitely. I think that he was very shy. He held back a lot at that Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment Show. He was trying to do a good job, trying to be professional. Like I said earlier in today's show, I think that he would have been a great fit for Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment if they just would have gave him a chance. But those fans are just so bloodthirsty, man, that if you'll come right the box with everything that you have, they'll just eat you alive.
Yeah, they again, I love the fan base here in Atlanta, Combat Entertainment, and every show that I go to, they're all different. I think this Rico would have definitely endeared himself to a lot of the more voracious or ferocious of our fan base. But you know what? Everything's a learning experience. He took that, and I think in layman's terms, he took it and his balls dropped, and now he is who he is. Everything happens for a reason, and I think that this Rico needed to come from that Rico, and that's okay too. In a way, we birthed another one.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I feel like you were a part of that group that kind of ran him out, Mika.
What are we talking about for next week? Let's go ahead and plug that. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm when I saw him, I really felt bad because I am vocal for the wrestlers, and I know how public speaking is, and I feel that being a ring announcer is a huge public speaking gig, and it gets even worse because your public is listening for your every word, especially at a wrestling show. So if you say something wrong or there's a wrong tone or inflection, yeah, so I felt for him, and I really felt for him. I really did. So no, I did not run him out. I asked people to give him a chance, but again, at the time, I was not who I am at this point either, so I could not command a room of people to do my bidding. Hell, I can't do that now. I can act nicely and hope for the best. So, hey. We all grew up. It's a hard nut life out there.
Well, Mika, what you got going on this week, girl?
This week, well, there's a lot happening. There is the first show on January 13th for Combat Entertainment. Jonesboro Furnace 41. We will be kicking off season 1 of Combat. You have a match. I will be there, of course, doing commentary, ring announcing, avoiding issues that have popped up via social media. But I don't want to talk about me. I want to kind of talk about you really quickly while we have some time. You have a match against you have a match against somebody who you and he know each other very, very well. And to be 100% honest with you, I think that your match is going to be the most uncomfortable one of the night. Because I know you two as being partners and being enemies. And as we go into Combat, this first show, with the stakes being this high, I'm not sure what's going to happen. And it's uncomfortable to think about, and I don't know if I actually can sit there and call it without breaking down. Man, I'm just serious.
It's I'm not gonna let too much out of the bag. I still have a video I have to release and stuff with my actual thoughts about it and stuff. I gotta talk them into the building. But it's brothers fight, friends fight. That's what happens. You know what I'm saying? Do I still have a lot of respect for Joe? Not so much. Is this a match I've been waiting for since the season 3 show of the year? Definitely. Do I feel like he's been ducking me for 2 years? Definitely. But I think that more than anything, I think that we need to focus on the fact that this is the only match that they've announced for this coming Sunday, which says a lot. I think that this match is going to set the tone and really introduce the fans to what combat entertainment is all about, the new direction of what was once Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. I think that this match is going to set the tone for that. It's going to really reintroduce fans to what the vision is for combat entertainment. I don't expect to be walking upright on Monday morning. I know I'm going to be banged up and bruised up, but I know he's going to be banged up and bruised up. So I'm just ready to prove that my win over Owen wasn't a fluke. I'm ready to prove that, contrary to me, I'm gonna go ahead and say, contrary to your opinion and everybody else's opinion, when it came to the Sound and the Fury, I wasn't just the mastermind. I wasn't just the brains or the brawn. I wasn't just the brawn and the muscle in the tag team. I was the Sound and the Fury. That I'm not the Marty Jannetty. That I was the Shawn Michaels. That when it comes down to it, I am better than Joe in every aspect, whether it's in professional wrestling, whether it's in real life, whether it's in the gym. That when it comes down to it, in a straight-up old-fashioned fight, Joe can't beat me. And I'm going to make that point proven. But that's all I'm going to say about this Sunday. Besides, guaranteed, this will probably be the best match. This will probably be match of the year for any company, hands down. I'm going to go ahead and put the pressure on myself that this will be the match of the year, period.
All right. Well, that's Sunday. What do you have leading in this Sunday?
You can say what you had leading in this Sunday. All you do is combat entertainment, because I'm going to say you're the office for like everybody.
I stay tuned to my social media. There's a lot happening behind the scenes at different companies. I can't speak on exactly what's happening right now, but just stay tuned, guys.
Yeah,
wow.
Okay, yes, because ladies and gentlemen, Mika works with all these companies, and she doesn't get me booked anywhere. She doesn't introduce me to anybody. Let's just put it out there.
Did you not hear how you get booked by Mika?
No, I'm not. I gave you a big break when it comes to podcasting. Okay.
Right. And now that we've been mutually beneficial, I'm gonna need you to benefit my mutual funds and. Okay.
Wow. All right, Dick Clark is payola, huh? So this week, pretty busy week, man. Leading into Sunday, so I got to make sure I eat my Wheaties and take my vitamins and say my prayers. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm going to South Georgia, checking out Spinebuster Championship Wrestling. I've heard there's a lot of great things going on down there, south of Columbus, Georgia. So I'm gonna go check that place out. Thursday, we're not doing nothing. Might actually decide to take my kids to go see WWA 4. Introduce my kids to some of the up and comers in Georgia wrestling. And introduce them to Lucha Underground star AR Fox. Friday, AWN, Fort Valley, Georgia. I'll be defending my National Syndicate Wrestling Georgia Unified Championship. Don't know who the challenger is yet. I'm probably gonna make an open challenge for anybody because I'm the man. Nothing going on Saturday. I'm actually going to take Saturday off and rest because, as we mentioned before, Sunday is the fight of a lifetime. I'm going to beat the piss out of Joe Black and stuff, man, at Combat Entertainment, the preseason show. So stay tuned to my social media for all the things Will Huckabee. It'll be great. Anything else, Mika?
I mean, no, this is a short week for me. Got a lot of stuff happening. You got a short week, a lot of stuff happening. Again, I will go with as Rico said, the compliment sandwich. I did, for 2.3 seconds, miss talking to you. That is now over, as this show should be coming. Let's wrap it up.
Wow, that hurts my feelings.
Yay! Happy New Year!
Well, we're leaving this show on a high note. Next week's guest, FIP WWN Evolve star and Georgia wrestler Logan Creed will be next week's guest in the show. We'll be having Jamie Senegal, Faye Jackson, and a lot of other great, interesting names coming up in the show in 2019. We're gonna kick this year off with a bang. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our network, the AngryMarks Podcast Network, on behalf of our sponsors, Indie Customs, Pro Wrestling World, and Behavior Driven. Pro Wrestling World and Behavior Driven. On behalf of our producer, Jesus Christ. Our producer, the man, the myth, the legend, CW. On behalf of my illustrious co-host, the lover of waffles, the voice of speech impediment, the Aphrodite of affection, Miss Hashtag, What's That Mouth Do, a.k.a. Buy Me a Taco, Chicago Win, and one half of the World Kids Commentary Team, Mika Villas. I am your World Wrestling Grand Prix Champion, your National Syndicate Wrestling Georgia Unified Champion, the Combat Entertainment Heritage Champion, the Disrespectful Intellectual, the Southern Gentleman, the reality TV star and national treasure, the Morning Star, the Incredible Hulk, Will Huckabee, saying Happy New Year, peace out, and support indie wrestling.
Bye.